Hi there, my name's Jock. This short video introduces my research project for the Doctor of Creative Industries. It's KKP 601. The topic is intermediation as practice, joining the dots between community, culture and commerce. This historical moment is an uncertain one for the arts sector in terms of its authority, its relevance and its sustainability. But at the same time, there has never been a greater demand for creativity or potential for new deployments, new ways of working and engagement with the social and the economic spheres. And yet the discourse around sustainability remains fixated upon patronage and philanthropy, conceptions from the last century and the one before that. This research will explore how we can conceive, negotiate, design and implement alternative methodologies that go beyond benefaction towards more empowered relations between the arts and the world at large. The creative practice which will lead and inform and be informed by the DCI research is the 3 C's: community, culture and commerce, which is a specialist service in the brokerage and design of creative partnership projects that contribute to social and digital inclusion, encourage creativity and corporate social investment, and provide jobs and professional development for artists. Thus, the key focus of my DCI research will be on brokerage and intermediation as a service for the navigation of the complex terrain between community, culture and commerce. It will ask the question, what is the role of the intermediary in connecting creativity, community engagement and corporate social investment? How can creative brokerage be developed as a practice, and how might this inform arts practice and theory? It's my intention that the outcomes will be as follows. 3 C's projects are each different and each customised with its community and corporate stakeholders. But the evaluation criteria can be categorised under 3 key headings: discursive, practical and strategic. Designing the DCI in a similar way, the discursive outcomes would be to contribute to knowledge by theorising creative intermediation at the intersection of community, culture and commerce, deliver a practical toolkit or a pedagogical resource to connect research to engagement, and strategically demonstrate leadership in that niche within which the 3 C's operates. 3 C's practice inhabits a liminal space at the convergence of 3 pairs of interconnected sectoral binaries, the 3 C's. Intermediation occurs at each of these interfaces, and at each the practice and definition of the roles of the intermediary is theorised differently. For example, at the interface of community and culture, we have animateurs, community arts activists, relational practitioners, and a range of NGOs and small to medium organisations, all of whose work could be described as intermediation. At the interface of culture and commerce, we have taste arbiters, cultural intermediaries, and the vast array of sponsorship, philanthropy, marketing and advertising individuals and agencies that take up position between production and consumption. At the interface between community and commerce, we have constructs such as corporate social investment, social entrepreneurship, and more recently, the phenomenon of narrative or native branding. While each of these fields informs in some way the 3 C's methodology, none fits exactly congruently its intent or its processes. It is the space within the 3-way sectoral overlap where the theorising literature is thinnest and to which the DCI practice-led research will seek to contribute. It will do this by means of examining the nature of intermediation at each of the interfaces and identifying the points of convergence and divergence in each instance. Whilst acknowledging the historical arc of political and socially engaged arts practice, the DCI will take as its starting point the policy environment of 1970s, which saw the separation of value frames around access and participation versus excellence, and the emergence of the construct of community art as an antidote for the perceived elitism of the existing arts sector. This historical trajectory will then proceed through community cultural development, relational aesthetics, the cultural economy, supply and demand, social entrepreneurship, corporate social investment, native branding and design thinking. This will flow into the practice-led research, in which I will unpack exemplars or case studies from the 3Cs oeuvre, each one different in its geographical, social, business and artistic content, as well as in its method and its outputs, but each one rich in historical, longitudinal and research data, reports, acquittals, evaluations and publications. I'll back this up with interviews with the participants, artists, project partners and government agencies. The analysis will then flow into intermediation in terms of concept development, brokerage, curatorship, project design, key points of difference, processes of engagement, managing relationships and expectations, duty of care, risks, evaluation, ethics, future strategies and the pedagogical potential. The exegesis out of this will inform directly the design for Project 2, in which I will undertake action research by means of designing and brokering a community-based project, applying the findings of Project 1 to concept development, partnership brokerage, the curatorial premise, the process of engagement and implementation, evaluation and its analysis, from which I would hope will flow naturally the development of a toolkit or pedagogical resource, which I envisage as being cross-platform and performative. This can then be extrapolated and folded back to the 3Cs as part of its business case, and then returned to go. The ethics considerations flowing out of a project such as this in Project 1 will be informed by particularly interviewing former clients, employers, employees, partners and researchers with whom I have worked and had a personal relationship. The solution to this I envisage might be to the possible subcontracting of an additional researcher. Project 2, as flowing from Project 1, will probably throw up ethical considerations consistent with many 3Cs projects around how you ethically engage with the community and in a business context, and how you broker business community engagements that work for everyone. This throws up details of copyright, intellectual property, releases, waivers, and in many cases duty of care and exit strategies. The budget considerations for Project 1 will be some travel to regional Queensland, Sydney and New Zealand, and subject to the ethics advice as above, the cost associated with a neutral researcher. Project 2 will be designed out of Project 1, and we can anticipate budget considerations in terms of seeking funding for a creative team for implementation, travel, artist fees, venues, materials, all of which subject to the project design. In conclusion, I envisage that this DCI work will contribute to knowledge by theorising the practice of creative intermediation at the intersection of community, culture and commerce, deliver a practical methodology by which to better connect research to community and corporate engagement, and position the 3Cs creative practice as a leader in the field. I'm looking forward to it, and thanks for listening. Bye.